Welcome everyone to this House Standing Committee on Appropriations and Revenue on this Monday, January 10th at 2 o'clock in room 154. Please, if you don't mind, silence your phones, put them on mute or vibration. At this time, a little housekeeping. I'd like to welcome to the committee Ms. Ashton Thompson, Committee Assistant. Thank you. Welcome to the committee today. Let's give her a round of applause and as she begins her career here. We also have a new member on the committee, Mr. Bobby McCool, representative over to my right. Welcome, Representative McCool, to the committee. Thank you, Bobby, for joining us. We appreciate it. A lot of hard work ahead of us, but I know you're well able and excited to join us. So thank you. All right. At this time, I ask the clerk to call the roll.
Representative Beckler, Representative Bentley, Representative Blanton,
Present.
Representative Bridges, Representative Dossett,
Present.
Representative Fisher,
Here in the room.
Representative Fleming, Representative Flood,
Present, Annex Office.
Representative Fugit,
Present in the room.
Representative Gentry,
Here.
Representative Hale, Representative Hart,
Present in the room.
Representative Hatton,
Present in the room.
Representative McCool,
Here in the room.
Representative Nemes,
Present in my annex office.
Representative Palumbo,
Here in my annex office.
Representative Prunty,
Present from home.
Representative Raymond,
I'm here.
Representative Riley, Representative Santoro, Representative Tipton,
Present in the room.
Representative Wilner,
Here in the room.
Chairman Reed,
Here in the room.
Mr. Chairman, would you make sure I reflect on Ken Fleming's here in the room?
Fleming.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a quorum and ready to proceed. At this time, we're going to go a little bit out of order. The chair calls House Joint Resolution 29. Speaker Osborne to the table. Representative Heath to the table. Gentlemen, before we proceed, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
We do.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Joint Resolution 29 is very simply an extension of the state of emergency and executive orders relating to the storms, particularly in West Kentucky. And there is general consensus is that this really isn't necessary because it involves local governments, and that wasn't included in Senate Bill 1. But the governor's asked for it, so certainly we want to do everything we can to expedite it. But it simply extends all of those executive orders in the state of emergency through April 14. And in all likelihood, if it still be necessary at that point in time, we will come back and do it again before we leave here in April.
Move for the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Seeing none, we should now proceed to vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Beckler, Representative Bentley, Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bridges, Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Fisher,
Yes.
Representative Fleming,
Aye.
Representative Flood,
Aye.
Representative Fugit,
Yes.
Representative Gentry,
Yes.
Representative Hale, Representative Hart,
Yes.
Representative Hatton,
Yes.
Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Nemus,
Yes.
Representative Palumbo,
Yes.
Representative Prunty,
I'm not eligible to vote.
Representative Raymond,
Yes.
Representative Reed,
Yes.
Representative Riley, Representative Santoro, Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Wilner,
Yes. Excuse me. Yes.
Representative Petrie,
All right, the motion passes. Will be considered for the House floor. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee.
All right, at this time, I'll call up Chairman Heath of the Agriculture Committee. Representative Heath with HB 5. You're sworn in from before. Please proceed. We have a motion on the committee sub and a second. Is there any questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Committee sub is adopted. You may proceed.
Good morning, committee, and thank you for this opportunity. House Bill 5 is our attempt to bring some relief to the citizens of our local governments who suffered through the loss of the storms in December. While the Federal Emergency Management Agency will ultimately determine how much money and how much relief is available, and trying to provide some of those immediate, what we're trying to do is provide some of those immediate assistance until the federal agency makes its determinations. So these funds will be repaid when the insurance claims and FEMA resources are awarded. The bill also addresses aid to local schools to provide some wraparound services to children and families to assist them in their scholastic progress. On behalf of the people of the area that's affected, and we appreciate your support and your prayers and that you've already provided, and request that you join with us in supporting this bill today.
Before we go to questions, I'm going to cover some of the aspects of the bill. In Section 1 of the Act, $155 million is appropriated to the fiscal year to support the newly created West Kentucky State Aid Funding for Emergencies Fund. This fund shall be known as the SAFE Fund and provide relief to those affected by the devastating storms of December 2021. In Section 2 of this Act, it's an additional $45 million is appropriated in this current fiscal year to support the newly SAFE Emergencies Fund. $30 million will be used to provide KDE with the tools necessary to support schools affected by the December 2021 storms. $15 million will be given to the Department of Military Affairs to provide housing to the citizens of the Commonwealth affected by the December 2021 storms. Section 3 of this Act places safeguards on how KDE and the Department of Military Affairs will spend the money appropriated in Section 2. Section 4 creates a SAFE Fund. Also, Section 4 ensures that we will be spending money to the best way possible for our Commonwealth, meaning we will not be handing out money, but instead we will be providing aid to those who need it most by ensuring that the money is being spent in the most effectively and efficiently way possible. This is the hallmark of good governance. Section 5 simply declares an emergency. Altogether, House Bill 5 provides $200 million to aid the people of Western Kentucky. The General Assembly will be providing $45 million in the immediate relief and $155 million to be spent as the needs are to be determined. Do we have any questions at this time? Chair recognizes Representative Wilner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, a couple of questions. The first is Section 3. Nothing shall be expended, allocated, or appropriated without the express authority of the General Assembly. So does that mean that folks needing the aid and knowing the immediate need would have to come back to the General Assembly for approval for every expenditure?
No, Representative Wilner, what that basically means is the request from the governor's office was a total of $200 million. We've been able to identify approximately $45 million of that so far as to exactly how to appropriate that. This will require additional appropriations. We know that there's going to be additional monies that are needed for local governments. We know that there's going to be insurance shortfalls. We know that there are going to be some school construction monies that are needed. We just don't know what those are yet. So we wanted to absolutely establish that the money's there, appropriate the money, but we don't know how to identify the exact dollars yet. As soon as those dollars are identified, then they will be released with additional pieces of legislation.
That's very helpful. Could I ask just one more question? And this is really, right before I came to this meeting, I was on the phone with some mental health advocates, and they're talking about the emerging mental health needs, as that the immediate needs were getting people sheltered, and now we're seeing more and more mental health needs emerge, as we could have all predicted. Are there any provisions in this bill specifically to address that, or can you maybe talk what we're thinking for that down the road?
Yes, there is a provision in the $30 million that's was set aside for education. Mental health is included in that.
So just for students, is that correct at this point?
Let me glance at that again. I don't know if it says students and families or students.
I'm pretty sure it's just students, but certainly would entertain any additional proposal that you might have, and would be happy to work with you on whatever those needs are that we can identify. Certainly, I think that you've absolutely identified something that is a potential crisis.
Great. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Raymond.
Thank you. I wanted to just get clarification for those of us who are far from you, what the impact has been on children and how they've been able to go to school. I see support here for wraparound services, after-school programming, tutoring, and transportation costs. Can you just talk about the experience? Are many children out of the schools that they were in December? Have school sports stopped and not resumed? What does it look like for the children there?
So the Mayfield Independent School resumed today. Graves County went back last Monday. The sports have started back, and the students that are displaced, maybe they're in neighboring counties because they lost their home in Mayfield. I just learned over the weekend that there is a law in place that requires the school districts to transport those children back to Mayfield or Graves County schools, and this bill includes cost of transportation that those school districts will incur. And it's going to take a little while to get back to normal, but the process has started. It was interesting. I have my youngest granddaughter's in kindergarten, and she's drawing pictures of tornadoes. So it's amazing what they pick up on that you don't even realize it.
Chair recognizes Representative Flood.
Thank you, Chairman. Gentlemen from Graves, just know that we all have been holding you in our hearts, you symbolically for your community, and I appreciate the work you've put into this piece of legislation today. May I get your clarification, and perhaps the speaker could assist in this regard, the amount of money we're putting out right now that would be free to be spent, and then when we'd have to come back for further legislation. I want to make sure there's enough breathing room, enough flexibility before we all have to be back together again to allow more monies should they be needed.
As of right now, effective with this, there will be $45 million that will be made available immediately upon the governor's signature. As soon as we are able to identify additional requirements, additional hard figures, then we will again be able to expedite those rapidly as soon as we're able to identify what those numbers are.
And one follow-up question, Chairman.
One follow-up question.
Yes. Will that need a further piece of legislation, or will it be a function that can be handled executively is my question.
It will require additional legislation.
And meaning we'd all have to be back together.
Correct.
That does concern me. I will put that out. 45 million seems shy of what we need to be putting out right now. I want to go on record as putting that's my concern with otherwise very good work. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Hatton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the sponsors of the bill, was the executive branch consulted in coming up with how to spend the money that's being appropriated now and the total $200 million? And if so, why aren't we hearing from them, particularly Budget Director Hicks?
I can't answer why. I do know that Chairman Petrie and Chairman McDaniel in the Senate had meetings with Director Hicks as well as Rocky Atkins. I think they met actually with the governor as well to construct the request.
To follow up on the speaker, yes, we had multiple meetings with the executive branch, with the governor, Director Hicks, and Rocky Atkins. Chair recognizes Representative Prunty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just on a Zoom with our Penny Royal Area District Development, their weekly or monthly meeting, and the governor was addressing them. He said that we didn't put in everything that he asked for, but it sounds to me like we did. So I just need clarification. And when I went online to get the bill from home, there's only 2 pages on there, and the committee sub wasn't on there. I just need clarification on what the governor asked for and what the bill has.
Representative Prunty, the committee sub will not be on the computer until it's adopted and then inserted into the system. And we'll check on the bill to make sure it's correct. Thank you.
Well, I guess I want to give you all an opportunity to affirm that what the governor asked for is in here, because he was out telling Pat that it's not.
The original request was $200 million, and this bill allocates the $200 million. It's just broken down in segments.
That's what I thought. Thank you for the clarification. And just for those who might want to know, Muhlenberg and Hopkins County are going to school, and they have resumed sports, and they're transporting kids to their home schools. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Dossett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you for putting this funding package together. As someone who actually experienced this tornado when it hit our Pembroke community on December the 11th, our school was damaged, and the funding's here to help cover that expense. Funding for mental health. My granddaughter, over the weekend, while the weather was coming in Saturday, was looking at the Weather Channel and saw shades of red. And her question continuously over and over, is that another storm coming? So I'm very appreciative of that. I also think it's important that we do have oversight on this spending, because not only have I seen what our agencies, our government agencies have done at home in Pembroke and in the surrounding areas such as Dawson Springs and Mayfield and Bowling Green. I also saw the number of individuals who volunteered and were doing work helping all of the families that had suffered this. And I think it's important that as we move through this, we're able to see exactly how many dollars are needed and make sure that we get those dollars to the exact places they need to go. And I think oversight by our body is important in doing that. So thank you for the legislation. It's greatly appreciated.
The chair will entertain a motion on HB 5 as amended by the committee sub.
So moved. Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Beckler, Representative Bentley, Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bridges,
Aye. And I would like for you to record my attendance.
Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Fisher,
Yes.
Representative Fleming,
Aye.
Representative Flood,
Yes.
Representative Fugit,
Yes.
Representative Gentry,
Yes.
Representative Hale,
Yes, and also would like to be recorded in attendance, please.
Representative Hart,
Yes.
Representative Hatton,
Yes.
Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Nemus, Representative Palumbo,
Yes.
Representative Raymond,
Yes.
Representative Reed,
Yes.
Representative Riley, Representative Santoro, Representative Tipton,
Yes.
Representative Wilner,
Yes.
Representative Petrie,
HB 5 as amended by the committee some passes and same should be reported favorably to the floor. Is there any other business for the committee?
Mr. Chairman, this is Jason Nemus. I was on mute when I tried to vote yes.
Okay, let the record reflect. Representative Nemus votes yes.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Tipton.
I'd just like to let the members know who got here a little late to the meeting. We've already adopted HJR 29. They may want to record votes.
Representative Bridges.
Yes, please record me as a yes for HJR 29.
Representative Hale.
Yes, I would also like to record a yes vote for HJR 29.
All right, got those recorded. All right, thank you all. Motion to adjourn. Committee's adjourned. Thank you
Mr.
all.
Chairman, members of the committee.
This will come up after